When we consider the intricacies of all creation, like the detail and marvel of the human eye, or the DNA code, or the orbit of the planets, it's clear that there is a perfect God in control. Does Joseph Smith teach of the same perfect and eternal God as the Bible?
Let's examine the physical aspects of God. According to Joseph Smith, the Father has a body of flesh and bones as tangible as man's, the Son also. However, in John chapter 4, we are told, God is spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and truth. The Bible also states, before the mountains were brought forth, or ever you had formed the earth and the world, even from everlasting to everlasting, you are God. God has existed for eternity. He alone is the eternal, omnipresent, omniscient, and omnipotent Creator. Amazingly, in the teachings of the prophet Joseph Smith, page 345, we are told,
I am going to tell you how God came to be God. We have imagined and supposed that God was God from all eternity. I will refute that idea and take away the veil so you may see. He was once a man like us, yea, that God himself, the Father of us all, dwelt on an earth, the same as Jesus Christ himself did.
It was Orson Pratt, I believe, who said if we should take 1,000,000 worlds like this and number their particles, we should find there are more gods than there are particles of matter in those worlds. So that's a lot of gods.
There are many people who actually think there are many gods out there somewhere in the universe. But the Bible teaches emphatically that that is wrong. Listen to the Apostle Paul in 1 Corinthians 8:4. There is no God but one. Oh, but wait a minute. Qualification. For even if there are so-called gods, whether in heaven or on earth, as indeed there are many gods and many lords, I mean, all kinds of people project into the universe imaginary deities or gods they relate to in one way or another. But the question is this, are they really there or are they just here? And the Bible says through the Apostle Paul, they're only in here. There's one God out there.
In the Christian or the biblical concept of God, he's the great eternal one, uncreated, uncaused, all-powerful, ever-present, all-knowing. And that is not only a Christian understanding of God, that is also the Judaic understanding of God. In Mormonism, God is simply an exalted man. He was born as a man, he was conceived in a natural way, and by adherence to a system of Mormonism in a previous world, in a previous life, through his good works, in accordance with that system, he became God. That's Joseph Smith's understanding of God. Indeed, his most radical reconstruction of Christianity begins at the point of how he redefined God.
man's natural tendency is to bring God, the Creator, down to our level. The temptation is then to elevate man to godhood.
To have the ambition to become a god, that was the lie of the serpent in the Garden of Eden. He promised Eve she could become a god. And you remember Brigham Young speaking in the Mormon Tabernacle. He said, the devil told the truth. We don't fault Mother Eve for eating the forbidden fruit. That's how we become gods. So Mormonism takes the lie of the serpent. It's based on the saying that the lie of the serpent is the truth.
Consider the Egyptians, the very ones who supplied the papyrus from which Joseph Smith brought forth his Book of Abraham. The Egyptians were convinced that some of them were gods. In fact, their entire funeral culture was designed to equip themselves for their next life as they traveled on in the spirit world as gods. However, the God of the Bible tells us, I am the first and I am the last, and there is no God besides me. I am the Lord, and there is no other. Besides me, there is no God. This and many other passages directly conflict with Joseph's teachings that there are many gods, and that men can become gods.
The Bible says, before me there were no gods formed, Isaiah 43:10. Neither shall there be after me. That means that all the Mormon teaching about many gods is false. It means there was never a God before this God. It also means that Mormon men will never become gods.
In Joseph Smith's Pearl of Great Price, Abraham and his wife Sarah are on their way to Egypt when Abraham is visited by the Lord, saying, "The Egyptians will find beauty in your wife and will kill you and take her for their own." And in verse 24, God tells Abraham to lie in order to spare his life.
The book of Abraham began by authorizing lying by God. Okay, where Abraham goes down into Egypt and he tells the Pharaoh that his wife is actually his sister. This is similar to the Bible version, only in the book of Abraham, God is telling Abraham to lie.
God's 9th commandment states, "You shall not bear false witness." And the final book of the Bible warns that all liars shall have their part in the lake which burns with fire and brimstone. Therefore, according to the Bible, God would never condone lying. Many questions arise from all of this confusion. Is there only one God or billions of gods? Why would God give us the Bible for instruction and life molding and later give us another testimony of Jesus Christ only to contradict each other? Does God make mistakes?